It is officially Christmas season here on Pop Culturally Deprived.
I've been waiting all year, and I can say, finally, bah humbug.
Oh, Matthew. Matthew, you're so terrible. This is episode 187 of Pop Culturally Deprived, where each week we watch a movie I've never seen before, or actually in this case that neither of us have seen before. And
People haven't seen before.
Yeah, nobody's seen this one. And we talk about the good, the bad, and the whirly-twirly. This week, we're going to be talking about Netflix's Jingle, Jangle, A Christmas Journey on your The Square Root of Impossible podcast. Okay, so before we talk about our feelings on this movie, I just have to say this. I was watching this movie, and most people listening to this probably haven't seen this yet, so I just kind of want to set up what you're getting when you watch this movie, and I'm curious if you agree with me or disagree with me. This movie is essentially if A Christmas Carol, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Disney's version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella had a baby, with a tiny bit of Mary Poppins thrown in.
That's a weird throuple right there.
It is. It is. But it's wonderful, and it absolutely works for me. Matthew's just staring at me. I know you didn't like it. You gave it 4 out of 10 on Twitter. You tweeted that you were halfway through it, and it had no plot, and you didn't like any of the songs. I don't know what to do with that. It absolutely has a plot. All of the songs are wonderful.
This is a Christmas movie as much as Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Oh, no, this is absolutely a Christmas movie.
This is a Christmas movie as much as Die Hard is
No.
a Christmas movie. As much as, I don't know, Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie. It is set around Christmas. That is very true. Christmas does not play any bearing on this story.
But it tells the story that is central to most Christmas movies. It's the story of belief, which is integral to most Christmas stories.
Right.
Believing in yourself, believing in Santa, or, believing in what you can't see. I mean, the whole catchphrase of the Santa Claus is seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing. Like, to me, that is the Christmas theme.
Okay.
And they kind of pound you over the head with that one in this movie.
Okay, so why does it have science and formulae and mechanics and engineering if you just need belief?
Because it's the square root of impossible and the mechanics of destiny, and it's just wonderfully imaginative.
It has Christmas in the title. It wants you to think this is a Christmas film. This is not a Christmas film.
It takes place over Christmas. And
so does Iron Man 3. So
I knew we were going to have this argument. I did. I expect you're right. If I didn't enjoy the movie, I would be saying the exact same things that you are, but I loved it so much that it's a Christmas movie for me. It's wonderful. And it's got Christmas in the title. It's A Christmas Journey. It is a Christmas movie.
So, thank you for listening, everyone.
And it's about toy makers. It's about toy makers. You don't get much more Christmassy than that.
We hope you enjoy your December.
Come on.
Don't forget, if you want to support us, visit patreon.com/eloquentgushing. And I'm Matthew Vose. When we talk about fixing problems in a film. When we talk about fixing problems in a film, I always think of Star Trek V. Star Trek V is a famously bad film. It is bad. People do not like it. I don't even think the creators like it. But through our conversation, we got to a point where probably with 2 or 3 new scenes, extra stuff, more explanations, actually we could have salvaged something from that film.
Okay.
I think. About God coming and speaking to him, and God is an alien, and the powers that he gets, and so on. Fine. I don't think I can do that here.
Oh my God.
I think
I didn't know you disliked it that much.
Every point I come to where I'm like, okay, there is some horrible casting in here that needs to be changed. Well, fine. You could replace Forrest Whitaker,
No.
but at the same time, the film has no plot, so you'd need to fix the plot, and then, okay, you fix the plot, but the songs are not good. Well, okay, you could fix the songs, but then you've got the next thing, and the next thing.
Oh,
This film's fundamentally broken. It reminds me, I'll tell you what it reminds me of, and this is the problem with me trying to give you some of this stuff, because I'm going to tell you things and you're going to go like, well, I haven't seen that.
All right, that's fine.
Looney Tunes Back in Action. Have you ever seen that?
Blue.
Yeah. Every so often, Looney Tunes, and I think like the Muppets as well, they try to put out a movie with their characters. Mm-hmm. Hey, we've got Bugs and Daffy and Taz, or we've got Kermit and Miss Piggy and Gonzo. Let's do a big film where they go on an adventure and funny things happen. And they try to do it because Disney does it, and Disney does it very well. Mm-hmm. The Mickey adventures with Goofy and so on. And there's just something about the way Disney does it that no one else can capture. And this makes me think the same. This was trying to be any sort of Disney High School Musical, Descendants, modern Disney musical, even going back to Newsies. It had all the wrappings of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I compared it to was Disney's Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Absolutely.
Visually, it was very similar.
It's missing the edge of quality or magic that somehow Disney put in most things. It just...
No, it's not.
The thing it most reminded me of, and I think this might be that you've just not seen it while you're not mentioning it, is The Greatest Showman.
I have seen it, actually.
Okay.
But I actually loved The Greatest Showman, too, so...
Right, well, I suspect if you like The Greatest Showman, you're going to like this, which tells you everything I think about The Greatest Showman.
Now, to clarify, I think the story of P.T. Barnum is... The real story of P.T. Barnum is trash. I think they should not have named this character P.T. Barnum because it was a completely fictionalized story.
Yeah.
And that fictionalized story was great. Mm-hmm. And most of the songs were really good. But I can see why you would draw that comparison to this as well. And I thought about that a few times while I was watching it, but it didn't really feel like it fit into my thruple thing that I had going on.
Which is so clever and engineered, Mandy. It's just more.
There is nothing I don't like about this movie. Honestly.
Interesting.
I don't think there's anything to fix.
Interesting.
I think I love it's set in this Afrocentric Victorian era. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Dickensian Britain,
it's
yes.
beautiful. Like the colors and the patterns and just the way they put it all together. I love the idea that they wanted to make a movie, specifically a family Christmas movie that had so much Black representation. Mm-hmm. Like that was the goal of this movie, and they absolutely did it, and they did it really, really well. I was reading an interview with David Talbert. I think that's his name, the writer and producer, director guy. And like he tried to start writing this as a stage play back in 1998. And he just couldn't get it right because his imagination was so much bigger than the stage.
Okay.
And then when, like, he also didn't have any kids at that point, and so he felt like he couldn't authentically get into the perspective he needed to tell Journey's story. Mm-hmm. And so then after he had kids, he was able to, be able to see through the lens of his children's eyes and then write it. And then he took it to Netflix, and Netflix basically told him he had no budget ceiling. Write your imagination, and then we'll figure out the budget. And that's what he was able to do. And learning all of that, even after watching it, I love it.
I think he needed a ceiling. Rein him back in at times.
No, I don't.
I completely agree with you with the Afrocentricity of it, if that's the phrase I should use. I don't want to diminish that aspect of it, because these are stories that have not seen non-white representation. So it is wonderful to see. It's awesome. when I talk about this, I don't want to see like a tweet about people saying Matthew Vose thinks Forrest Whitaker should be replaced by a white man. It's like, no, that's not the point. But the character can only be compared to other characters like that, which are historically played by white men.
Oh, I think Forrest Whitaker did a wonderful job.
I think Forrest Whitaker's awful. I can't think that Forrest Whitaker has ever done comedy or light things. And that might be part of the problem. Forrest Whitaker does not come across as a light and fun person. He comes across as dowdy and browbeaten, which is how the character's supposed to come across.
Right.
With an edge of spark to him.
Mm-hmm. So, and he gets the spark back at the end. He
does. If we compare this to other things of this ilk, it's a part that, and again, this is, because it's hard to say who would be playing this, but it's a part that would be played by a Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams type. Someone just with, an edge to them playing a part.
Someone who has more, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Vibrancy?
Yeah, more versatility in their career. I think is what you're
in their portrayals. Whereas Forrest Whitaker is serious.
Forrest Whitaker is serious. I didn't know Forrest Whitaker could sing.
No, I was watching that going, I don't know if this is him or not.
I was wondering that, but then the way they were so close up on his face, sometimes I was thinking that's like, if he's not actually singing that, he's fantastic at mimicking.
Absolutely.
So I think he really was singing. I think everybody was really singing.
Well, whereas Journey, when she sang, was horrendous at lip syncing to the extent I wasn't sure it was her. There's a couple of moments where it's like, she looks like she's singing a different line.
I didn't even notice. I didn't.
Particularly, there's a bit where she goes up the spiral staircase and at the top, she's doing a bit of a dance. It does not work. Anyway. So I have that problem with the character because anything I say is just going to lead to the next problem and the next problem. And I don't want to do this down. I feel like there is a good idea in here, which I always say. There is a good idea in here, and there's a way of doing this well. But I think the pieces they have do not fit together. Mm-hmm. They've got the top layer of the jigsaw and the bottom layer of the jigsaw, and the middle of the jigsaw is just missing. And they've just fudged all the pieces in to fit wherever they can.
Aww. So I don't think I haven't said this in a long time, but I'm going to quote our friend Lonnie Diane Rich. This movie was made specifically to delight me. Terrific.
Exactly why I do not want to take it apart.
It's fine. I understand. I think, I was talking to Joseph about it last night, and he said his thoughts were, it's not a bad movie. That's about as positive as it got.
Just because he was sat with you, yeah.
But he had, I had shown him your tweet where you obviously didn't like it. And he was wondering if part of it just didn't translate well because it is very American.
Yeah, there is... because it was filmed in Norwich, it's got a lot of British actors, but you're right. It is the American impression of what Victorian Dickensian Britain can be like.
I mean, to the point where some characters had a British accent and some didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Which, there was no way of knowing where this was actually set when... I mean, I think they did give us a date. It was like in the 1800s, of course, but...
I'm not even sure they did that.
It was on one of Jessica's letters.
Okay.
So...
Because...
You are absolutely entitled to your own opinions. I don't know that we've disagreed this much of an extreme since Monty Python.
Okay. The end of the film. If you've not seen the film, don't go and watch it. I'm just going to spoil it for you. Okay.
Still, go and oh my God, go and watch it. But spoil it. Spoil away.
The kids realise that their grandmother, Claire Huxtable, is actually Journey. Fine, we all saw that coming. Okay.
Right. And
they realise if they look out of this window that they're next to, they can see the factory.
I know. That was awful. That was awful.
And then they realise that Buddy's there, even though Buddy's been sold in stores for, let's say, 50 years at this point. Mm-hmm. as a thing, and that Buddy gives people magic to be able to fly. But oh my god, Buddy's here and we have magic to fly. And we didn't know this existed, despite the fact we're incredibly rich and live opposite the factory. That's the crescendo of the film, the magical, it meant so much to these kids.
That is not the crescendo of the film. That is the coda of the film. This was Jeronicus Jangle's story. This was Journey's story when she was a kid. You know, Felicia Rashad as grandmother Journey telling the story is the epilogue.
Okay.
It's not the point. It's just a nice, fun thing at the end. It's an embellishment at the end. And it didn't make a lot of sense. I understand that. My first instinct was, why don't these kids know Jeronicus Jangle is their great-grandfather when there's a big J on that factory right out the window? Right. Like, I get that.
Okay. Okay, so we'll take
but it's not enough
back into the film.
All right.
To the crescendo. The crescendo. He's managed to make Buddy work, and it's amazing, and it's great. And Hugh Bonneville, who was in this film for reasons, turns up from the bank and says, we'll give you every bit of money you want to be able to make this a success. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about your debts. The bank will back you. Mm-hmm. Does that sound like any bank you've ever heard of?
In fiction, yes.
Okay. I mean, if we're saying this is Mary Poppins-esque, that's not the bank that Mr. Banks worked for.
Okay, the only part of Mary Poppins that this was like was flying on the ceiling. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But I don't know. They started the bank thing from the very beginning because the bank was approving loans for Jeronicus based on his ideas, not based on any physical commodity that he had. There was no collateral. It was all his imagination. And so I think it makes perfect sense that he finally, Hugh Bonneville, I don't even know this character's name, but the banker dude,
Mr.
he
Delacroix.
has, that's it, Mr. Delacroix. He has had faith in Jeronicus for all of these years, but they've just kind of finally hit a wall. Like, he has too many debts. They can't continue to back him with nothing to show for it. But he's his friend, and he knows that inside of him he believes in Jeronicus Jangle. And when he finally sees, he knows he can sell this back to the bank, and it's wonderful.
That is no way to run a bank or an economy.
It's absolutely not, but we also don't live in an economy where we just randomly burst into song and also get to fly away because we believe in robots.
No. That's why their civilization fell and we're now here.
I don't know. I thought the casting was wonderful.
The problem with the casting, Forrest Whitaker is the one I point to. I think, who was the lady, Mrs. Johnston? Lisa Davina Phillip. I found the performance a bit, I couldn't quite get what she was going for.
I found her performance to be slightly inappropriate for children.
Yeah, there was something to it that didn't quite work there. Particularly the bit when he's going out to her and she's at the van. It just, again, it felt like it was an element that the film didn't need, but fine. Fine.
I'm not sure it needed it either. But again, that's very Cinderella-esque. Both of the stepsisters in that version, I think, were very much over the top in that manner.
So there's a couple of people I think don't necessarily work, or the performances aren't great. Forrest Whitaker is the one I would point to because he's so central to it. I think there is probably someone else out there who would really grab that role and give it something just with a bit of an edge and a bit of interest, and fine.
Okay.
The reason it stands out so much is when Keegan-Michael Key comes on the screen, the film is wonderful. When he gets to do whatever he wants to do, because, and he is an actor I've got a lot of time for. He is very good at what he does, because he just commits to everything. Mm-hmm. And his one song, is wonderful. It's up there with Jafar singing. It's that good.
Oh, wait, that's the one song that you liked the most out of the movie?
Yes. Can't remember it at all, but I enjoyed it when it was on screen.
Something about Magic Man G.
And then, Anika Noni Rose comes on. One of the great performers, the original Angelica Schuyler from the Hamilton mixtapes. She was the first one to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't utilize her enough.
But what they did with her, her song when she comes out, and just the range she's hitting, the quality of the like, it shows up how everyone else has been kind of amateurish at this point. And suddenly we've got a stage professional doing this, and she is amazing. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, could we get someone better for the other parts then?
Oh.
Like, Journey, I get it. You know, you're always going to get a very stage school Disney-esque kid. I don't think you're going to get anything better from a child doing that performance.
I thought she was wonderful.
I thought she was very good. It felt very practiced.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, her range in vocal tone, like, I genuinely enjoyed listening to her.
Right.
So, I see what you're saying. I do. I think the movie just stole my heart so much that I don't care about any of the flaws.
And this might be the thing with, like, Joseph saying it's not a bad film. Catherine and I were watching this, and we were both like, this is really not good. And I was in here for this film. When we were talking about the films, I was like, that advert looks really good. It looks magical, beautiful, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A bit like the Greatest Showman trailer does. And then you watch the film, and you're like, well, this is awful. This is not a good film. This is over and above the musical stuff. This ain't a good film. And the Jingle Jangle just, I couldn't remember the character. And I think that first song that Jangle sings, we're supposed to really, oh, he's got his part. That's amazing. That's great. But they give us no context for why to be excited other than he's got a part that he's been waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then suddenly he's gone through trauma and he's old, and Forrest Whitaker is doing nothing to win me over and make me like this guy.
Well,
and then suddenly
you're not supposed to like him.
Say again?
To start, you're not supposed to like him at that point. I mean, he
but
sent his daughter away.
The entire film.
All right.
To the extent I feel sorry for Keegan-Michael Key, his character, Gustafsson, yeah. Yeah, because he's not a bad person at the beginning. He's trying hard. He wants to be an inventor. He wants to be like his mentor. Mm-hmm. And the evil Ricky Martin robot convinces him to steal everything and run away.
Borrow indefinitely.
Absolutely. And then the next time we see him, he's a moustache-twirling villain.
Absolutely, 100% villain. It's weird seeing him play a villain.
Yes, and he does it very well because he does that Jafar-esque moustache twirling, but the character wasn't like that. And it's a step too far almost, where he was actually quite a good thing. I almost would have expected him to send money back.
See, the movie sold me on it, though, because he was jaded and he felt hurt. Mm-hmm. And then he had evil Ricky Martin, whispering in his ear, telling him that he was better than that and he deserved it and blah, 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 blah. And then we all know what money does to people, usually in these kinds of movies. Mm-hmm. And so the next time we see him, he's built his empire on Geronicus's stolen inventions. Mm. And so it made perfect sense to me that would have been the character evolution.
Okay.
I love how when he comes out, the first time we see him as Keegan-Michael Key, he's wearing green. Mm. Right? Because he's built his career because he was jealous.
Okay, right.
Of Geronicus. How many J words can we get in there? Like, I thought that was spectacular. I don't think green is his best color, but because he wore purple later, and that was great.
Right.
But I think the imagery and the symbolism of him wearing green as he's talking about he's been Toy Maker of the Year for 28 times. Yeah.
You say he's jaded at the beginning and jealous, and I think that's true. But I'm sympathetic towards him because Jangle is not good to him. No, he's not. We are not.
He's
set
not
up to be
bad
sympathetic.
to him, right? He's not bad to him, but he's not great to him either, right? Like watching how heartbroken Gustafsson was when Jessica got the inventor goggles, and he's his apprentice and had never had them. Like I get why he would give his daughter inventor goggles, but. Mm-hmm. I would have expected his apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I get why that hurt him. But then you also got him coming back with the gift, and, you know, he wanted to include him and celebrate with him as well. But he should have just let him go. Like, he should have been a part of the family. Like, right? If he had just been a part of the family, none of this would have happened.
No.
And at the end, it did rub me slightly the wrong way when Jeronicus gave him the gift and said, if you had only waited.
Right?
Like, making it Gustafsson's fault.
Right.
Like, he should have apologized and recognized what he had done to drive Gustafsson to that point. Like, I think that would have been a nice depth.
Yes.
To the end of the movie.
Yeah, because it's a simple line to say, I'm sorry I didn't treat you better that you ended up this way. Like, you know,
right.
Gustafsson has to own his choices on what's happened. But he wasn't good to him. But and it left me wondering, like, is this Gustafsson's story? But it wasn't. He disappeared with the book and built his own factory over the way where he could watch him with binoculars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disappeared with the book over the road. And the police wouldn't investigate it because he had no proof. He stole stuff.
Oh.
If someone steals something from you, you don't have proof. You have an empty space where the stuff was.
There was no proof that the book belonged to Jeronicus, I think. I think that was the point.
It's got his drawings and stuff in it. Like, that's hard to fake. Like I said, this film at every stage did not take me in. And then because we were both watching it going, struggling here, I think it's put us downwards on it.
Right, yeah.
Where Joseph watching with you has put it upwards, perhaps.
No, I mean, I was all in from the first musical number. I was just in. I have nothing else to say. I loved it. I loved the casting. I loved the performances. I probably could have done without the evil Ricky Martin doll.
I kind of get it, because it gives that step of, like you say, whispering in the ear, convincing him to turn evil. Like, I quite like that. The other bit it probably could have done without is the new apprentice.
Edison.
Yeah, the other kid. Like, he doesn't add anything or do anything. And is Jangle just keeping apprentices and being awful to them? Like, you know, shitty intern manager or something?
So I read that as Edison's not actually his apprentice. Edison is the kid next door who just loves this place and comes in and bothers Jeronicus Jangle. That's how I read that. But the point of him is to show that there is still hope in the things that Jeronicus can do. Like, somebody still believes in him, even though he doesn't believe in himself anymore. Somebody else does.
Yeah, we get all that from Journey. And he is called his apprentice. So whether the
did
setup for that
Jeronicus
is,
call him his apprentice, or did Edison call himself the apprentice?
I think everyone calls him his apprentice.
Okay. That's not how I interpreted what was on the screen, but that doesn't mean I'm right.
So I feel like he's a character that could be taken out. But then even just thinking about him, it's like, oh yes, there's a snowball fight in the middle.
That's the moment that the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes. We needed that snowball fight.
Okay. Is it not the bit where he goes to save her and realizes she's in trouble and then has to recapture the magic of seeing numbers in the air and using science in this film that's about belief?
No, because he had to have already started to love her before that moment.
Okay.
You know, that moment wasn't about his love for her because he was going there to save her anyway. Like, him recapturing his own imagination was the next level of that. But that didn't have anything to do specifically with his relationship with Journey, other than he began to see what she could.
Okay. I did not get that from the snowball fight.
Really?
That's
okay.
their bonding moment. It was just, oh, this is filler. This is another song.
Aww. Okay.
Which is, you know, again, one of the big things that reminds me of some of the lesser Disney musicals, because they do a lot of that. Christian Bale under a bridge singing. Okay, thanks, Newsies. Can we get back to the newspaper stuff now?
Aw. Okay, I felt that way about Mrs. Johnson's song. Sorry, Ms. Johnston's song.
In the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miles and Miles, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, and she as a character is largely not necessary. Forcing a romance.
I thought she was Edison's mom the whole movie until the very end.
Yeah. Why wouldn't she be? I mean, it almost doesn't make a difference whether she is or not.
Right.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things with this. And it's a real shame because the trailer made it look so good. Mm-hmm. And then when it does shine, when you have Anna Kanani Rose singing her heart out, and it's beautiful, and you have Keegan-Michael Key just tearing up the screen and like having a lot of fun, it's good. It's good. Yeah. Give me that film. Give me the film where she falls in love with the apprentice who ripped off the father, and everyone gets redemption through it. Give us that story.
No. No. I like the story a lot. Okay. So that's... I think we may be at an impasse on this one.
I think we might be.
That's perfectly okay. What a way to kick off our Christmas season.
I mean, I've not talked about the plot yet. That's the other bit we could talk about. Let's talk about the plot. Because there is
plot that you say doesn't exist?
There is no plot. At no point is there a driving force in this. Maybe the last third. It suddenly gets if we do X, we get Y, and that allows us to do Z.
This is about the miserly old man who loses his belief and has to be reminded that it exists, and this journey happens. No pun intended. Where after he goes through these certain things with his family, he gets it back. Happily ever after. That's the story. That's the plot.
It is not about that at all. Or maybe it is about that, but the film never tells you it's about that. It is just a series of events happening to these people, and that's the outcome. But at no point is there a sense of, if we love him hard enough and try and everyone believes, he's going to be great again. It's just... And now we cut to Journey, and we see her. Now we cut back to her in the town, and we see what happens there. And then Keegan-Michael Key gets a song.
I think now is the time for you to say your bah humbug. I don't know what to do with you about this one. I don't know.
It is a real shame. But I'm hopeful about the next one.
Tell us about it. What are we watching next?
Next is Dolly Parton's Christmas in the Square.
Dolly Parton's Christmas in the Square.
Christmas in the Quadrilateral.
I can guarantee you there won't be any science in this one. I honestly don't know much about the plot of this one. Nope. I decided I wanted to watch it solely based on the fact that it's Dolly Parton.
Well, yes.
And then I saw some of the other cast, and I can't remember who they are now. But I was excited about them when I saw them. Christine, what's her face? Last name?
Ski?
No, but it's a ski name. Baranski. See?
Christine Baranski.
She's Williams, in it.
Jennifer Lewis. Josh Segara. Was he in Arrow? He was in Arrow. Mm-hmm. He was a bad guy who I'm not going to name in case no one's watched it yet.
So... yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one, considering that I have a track record of enjoying Dolly Parton Christmas movies.
Right, okay.
So I can't imagine this one's going to be bad. Plus, I recently finished watching Heartstrings on Netflix. Do you guys have that?
That was her series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where each episode tells the story of one of her songs.
Okay.
So it tells the story that the song is telling.
Right.
So you get Jolene, and it's fantastic. It's way better than I expected it to be.
Cool.
Like, I just love Dolly Parton, and I've only recently discovered how amazing she is. So
she made Buffy happen.
She did make Buffy happen.
So yeah. You've seen The Grinch, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's kind of the role I think of for Christine Baranski. Was she the friend in Sybil or something as well?
She was the friend in Sybil. She was also in Mamma Mia.
Okay. Oh, and she's in Big Bang, isn't she, as well? Yes. Okay.
Yes, she's Leonard's mother. In
but yes, so I think of her as a Christmas film actress.
Oh, because of the Grinch. Got it. Okay. Interesting.
Yes, no, I'm looking forward to that because, Dolly Parton. And you can't go wrong with some Dolly Parton.
We'll see.
Frankly.
All right. So here's what I want to know from our listeners. I want to know if you're on Team Matthew or Team Mandy about Jingle Jangle. That's really what I want to know. I want to know how many other people out there are going to break my heart and not like this movie.
It's been interesting looking at reviews because there is a mix of reactions to this. Generally, people have gone, it's saccharine sweet, but yes, it kind of works for the niceness. But there is also a definite vibe of it hits you over the head with trying to be Christmas nice and it doesn't work. So.
Okay. Well, if you guys have watched Jingle Jangle, tell us what you thought. If you haven't watched it, go watch it and then tell us what you thought. And you can do that on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Eloquent Gushing. Or you can send an email to us at podcast@eloquentgushing.com. Or if you just want to gush with me about how awesome Jingle Jangle was and, sing the songs, I'm on Twitter at Mandy K.
And I'm Matthew Vose. I'm on Twitter at Matthew Vose. And you can come and recommend any Christmas songs you want because I love interesting, different Christmas songs. Pop Culture Deprived is funded by our lovely listeners through Patreon. Anything you give gives access to exclusive content and bonus shows, early access to shows and physical merch, and it makes us love you very much for helping to support us. So if you want to find out more, if you want to help support us, you can go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing and find out more about how to give and support.
And we will be back next week with another episode where we are going to talk about Dolly Parton's Christmas in the Square. We might even sing a little bit, maybe. Until next time, I am Mandy Kay.
And I'd like one egg, please.
It is officially Christmas season here on Pop Culturally Deprived. Say something. I know it's not our normal intro, but say something.
Hi. I'm Matthew Vose.
No. Okay, I will not expect you to say something that I just kind of threw that at you.
Hear those
You're
sleigh
like,
bells,
I'm not
jingle
supposed
jangle.
to talk yet.
All is
right.
merry and bright.
No. All right.
Hang your stockings in your bed tonight. Santa Claus comes tonight.
We haven't had you singing in an episode in a while. Maybe I'll leave all of this in.
Santa Claus Lane. He's got a gift for the boys and girls.